Hello YouTube, this is Ophiuchus, the Thunder Lizard, and I am here to reveal to you the lies of the reptilian agenda and all of the different ways that the reptilians have infiltrated our society, seeking to destroy our connection to our own divinity, our own mastery. And one of the most insidious, destructive, and deceitful lies of the reptilian agenda is the law of attraction. And I'm going to explain to you how this has come about, why it is a horrific reptilian lie designed to destroy your connection to your own divinity and to the divinity at large. But first we need to back up, and I need to explain to you from the beginning what the reptilian agenda is. So, I am Ophiuchus, the master of the reptilian truth, and I am the master of the snake energy. So, what is the snake energy? The snake energy is the energy of being able to look at your deepest darkness and learn from it. Why do you think it was that, according to the Abrahamic tradition, that it was the serpent that came to Adam and Eve and offered them knowledge of themselves? Why was that so threatening to Jehovah? That's a whole other video. But that's what the serpent energy is. The wisdom of the serpent is that it will bring you knowledge of your true, deepest, darkest self. And if you are able to look within the darkness and not blink, then just like in Greek mythology, the serpent stands at the doorway to the temple, and you will be able to go in and see the hidden spiritual truths of the universe. If you pass the test. The law of attraction is a test. If you have bought that, if you have drank that Kool-Aid, then you have been consigned to delusion and misery. And one of the most insidious ways that the reptilian agenda works is it comes to you feeding all of your fear-based temptations, all of your fear-based delusions, all of your fear-based fantasies, all of the things that tell you that you're small and limited and unlovable. Now you say, but that doesn't sound like the law of attraction at all. The law of attraction sounds very loving and sweet and kind. Well, I'm going to reveal to you that it's none of those things. But before I do that, let's go back and look at the reptilian agenda. So, here's what we reptilians have been doing. As I've said, I am a reptilian. I am a double agent. I have defected over to the side of the humans, and I have put all of my time and energy into helping the human race become masterful and to overcome the reptilian agenda. So in that vein, I reveal to you what it is that we have been doing to you for 100,000 years. So the first thing that happens when you are born, just like this little baby, when you are born, I picked that photo because it just slays me every time. I just want to pick her up and make her boo-boos go away and make her feel better. Oh, how sad. But the moment that you're born, what the reptilian agenda seeks to do is to first make you feel like you are alone and helpless in a black hole, empty, arbitrary, unloving, cruel universe. By the way, the worst form of cruelty is abandonment. I mean, abuse is horrible. No two ways about it. Abuse, torture, shaming, all of those things are horrible. So I'm not trying to compare on that level. But I would have to say that the worst thing is abandonment. Especially for little tiny babies. What they need more than anything else is they need to be loved and they need to be nurtured. And that love and that nurturing gives them the connection to their own divinity and connection to the divine energy of the universe at large. You want to call it God, go ahead and call it that. I don't care what word you use. So the reptilian agenda is to get in there the moment that these little beings come into existence and to make them feel as though they are insignificant, that they don't exist, and that the universe not only doesn't love them, but doesn't even know they're there, and that they just live in this arbitrary universe. It takes away, from the moment that you're born, it takes away your ability to feel that you are divine, to feel the truth. The truth is, one of the reptilian lies that was propagated by the Abrahamic religions is that you are not God, that you are some tiny little created being, and you are dependent upon this big parent in the sky to empower you and take care of you. And that is what the serpent brought in the Abrahamic tradition to Adam and Eve and said, why did God tell you not to eat that fruit? If you eat that fruit, you're going to become like God. Why would he do that? Which is a really good question. Why would he do that? It's because he wants to own you. He wants to control you, manipulate you, feed off of you. So the first thing that the reptilian agenda is the moment that you're born is to separate you from your connection to your own divinity, the connection to your own infinity and power and godhood. And then you become dependent. You become dependent upon whatever parental figures are around you. And then the next level of the reptilian deception is to give you double messages. Make you confused as to what it is you need to do to get love and attention. Maybe have your parents fight with you. Then you don't know what information to believe. So now you feel that you're this empty little unlovable nothing in the middle of this big empty cold universe, and nothing and nobody is there that you can depend on. And then as time goes on, you start to feel that you are this victim of this arbitrary universe that does whatever the heck it wants to you. And then you end up seeing that everywhere you go. And from your perception, we reptilians are running the world. We're feeding off of the souls of infants. Law of attraction is the perfect method to do that. All right, so now that I have explained that to you, and now that if you are a fan of the law of attraction and you are screaming and yelling at me because I don't understand what I'm talking about, let me explain it to you. So let's go back to that little child now. You're a little child trapped in the reptilian deception. And while you are trapped in that reptilian deception, you're not allowed to have any of your feelings. Whenever you cry, your dysfunctional reptilian parent slaps you across the face and says, "Don't cry. Don't do that. I'll give you something to cry about. Stop complaining. Stop having those feelings." So you're told you're not allowed to have your feelings. So you get shamed every time you have a negative feeling. Now, because your reptilian parents want to be worshipped and adored and want their ego built up, then you have to always be happy, and you always have to be smiling, and you always have to be telling them that they're good people. This is narcissism. Narcissists are only interested in being told that they're whatever, just nothing good, and they have to say everything good and positive to them all the time. And so you learn that if you have a negative feeling and you express that negative feeling, you learn to get shamed by that. So you then, in order to protect yourself, you start to shame yourself before your parents get a chance to do it to you. Now, they'll still find a way to do it, but you're going to try and get ahead of them as much as possible. So every time you have a feeling, a negative feeling, sadness, anything like that, you jump in there first and you shame yourself for that feeling. And you put on a smile. And then you seek to make everybody happy all the time. What does that sound like to you? That sounds exactly like what you're taught with the law of attraction. Also, your narcissistic reptilian parents will shame you for your thoughts and your opinions. So if you have any thought or any opinion, or if they believe that you have any thought or any opinion that is unfavorable to them, they're going to shame you for that. What the hell are you thinking? Knock that off. So you try to get ahead of them there. So you shame yourself for any negative thought, any negative feeling. You know, the people who, in my experience, who are the most controlling, the most passive-aggressive, and ultimately the most angry, are the people who end up saying to you all the time, you know, just be positive. I only want to focus on the positive. I don't want to focus on that negative. That negative is bad. Don't bring that up. You know, I just recently went through this experience interacting with a group of people, and we were talking about the lockdown and et cetera, et cetera. And this person started to, you know, come in there seemingly on a positive note, saying, I really don't want to focus on that. Let's not create the negative narrative. Let's do that. And somebody else said, no, I need to talk about it. I'm really upset. I don't like it. Then the other person started getting angry. Started saying, yeah, it's really frustrating, and it's really hard for me to do this when you're feeling like that. And I said, but it's okay for them to have their feelings. Why are you getting so angry? It's really sounding like you're shaming them out of having their negative feelings. To which the person got even more angry and upset and rageful. That's underneath the surface. This is codependence. People who want to take your feelings away, who want to make you not feel bad, who don't like it when you cry, when they're saying it's okay and it'll be all right, don't get upset, what they're really saying is stop doing that. Stop having those feelings. You're making me uncomfortable. You're making me feel my uncomfortable feelings. Knock it off. But they cover it with, it's okay. It'll be okay. Just enjoy yourself. I remember when I was in Idaho, this was 10, 15 years ago, when global warming was really hitting the forests out there, and all the forests were dying. And so, I mean, the first year I was up there, these beautiful green forests, and then the next year I see a little bit of red on a couple of trees. Next year after that, all those trees are dead. Next year after that, whole forests are dead. And I was talking to, I was in the ranger station talking to a ranger, and there was two rangers there. There was an older male ranger and there was a younger female, and I was talking to the female, and I was explaining about how horrible this was, that I'm looking at all these dead trees, and it's like, this is really depressing. And then the older guy came up and he said, you know, just enjoy. It was making him really uncomfortable that I was pointing out the truth. This is the law of attraction. Just have positive feelings. If you have positive feelings, positive things will come to you. If you have negative feelings, negative things will come to you. I'll give you something to cry about. You didn't know that's what the law of attraction was teaching you. You know why? Because if you have been hypnotized by the reptilian agenda, then you have, on an unconscious level, a tremendous shame against all of your negative feelings. Now, you have all these negative feelings. You're not rich enough. You're not happy enough. You don't have enough love. You don't have enough health. All these things are coming at you, and somebody comes along and says, hey, all you have to do is just be happy all the time. If you're happy all the time, happy things will come to you. And that's exactly what your abusive reptilian parents said to you. Hey, knock it off. If you don't smile right now, you're going to eat that and you're going to like it. Otherwise, I'll give you something to cry about. Go to your room. And if you can't put a smile on your face, you're going to stay in your room until you can come out here and be a good little boy or girl and smile. You didn't know that's what the law of attraction was teaching you, was it? You still don't believe me? Fine. Keep going to the law of attraction seminars. Go listen to Zohar the Magnificent, who's channeling the entities from other realms of the universe. And for some strange reason, Zohar the Magnificent, when she channels these other beings from other universes, the things that she says if it's good advice, is really no different than anybody that's just a normal human would give. Just normal, good human advice. Why is it you need to hear it from Zohar the Magnificent and the beings that she channels? Why is that, do you think? Because you don't like yourself. Another person who you relate to, who's a human being, who comes to you and says just average, wisdom about getting through life, that's boring. That's like me, and I'm no good. I'm a nothing. I need to hear from Zohar the Magnificent and the beings from Zeta Reticuli telling me stuff that anybody would just common sense stuff tell you. But then she goes on to tell you how if you think positive thoughts all the time, and if you have positive feelings all the time, you'll send out a good vibration. Here's the codependence in that. When you're with your borderline personality disorder parents or your reptilian parents who cannot tolerate any discomfort in the air, when you're having a bad thought, guess what? They pick up on it. They pick up on that vibration. You have a negative feeling, they pick up on that vibration. And they start harassing you and they start shaming you. So now you've found a spiritual path that's going to give you lots of money and lots of love. It's going to reward you like a parent rewards a child. And it's going to do it because you aren't acknowledging your negative feelings. It's just that simple. Have happy thoughts and happy feelings and good things will happen to you. You have negative thoughts and negative feelings and negative things will happen to you. But I'm here to tell you that that is not how it works. The first lie that the reptilians give you is that you live in an empty, cold universe and that you are unlovable, that you are small and tiny and insignificant. Which is what the law of attraction teaches you, regardless of what they say. They may say, oh, you're divine and you're this and that, but then if that's the case, then why do you get punished every time you have a negative thought or a negative feeling? That means you're really tiny. But the truth of the matter is that you are an infinite soul who has infinite power. You have the ability to come to this three-dimensional video game called human life, and you have the ability to intend your perfect reality, and it's not dependent upon your thoughts or your feelings. There's a difference between your thoughts, your feelings, your intentions, and your actions. So you have two sets here: thoughts and feelings, intentions and actions. Thoughts, sometimes you can have some control over the thoughts you choose to indulge in, but most of the time thoughts are just reactions. That's why Buddhists have the mindfulness meditation, where you meditate and you watch your thoughts go by. That proves to you you're not creating your thoughts, they're just popping up out of your unconscious. And then you get to look at why you had that thought and where is that thought coming from and all of that. You get to analyze yourself and look at your unconscious mind. Same thing with feelings. Feelings are just reactions. They're just energetic, emotional reactions to thoughts sometimes and to external stimuli. You have very little control over what kind of feelings that you have. Feelings are the result of the actions that you take. You want to feel good? Take actions that will result in things that will reward you, which will give you positive feelings. So your feelings are just reactions as well. Now what ends up happening is that you've been told, and I hear this over and over and over again from the law of attraction crowd, they say you don't have to take action. I mean, it amazes me. But they'll say, no, you don't have to work for it. You don't have to take action. Just sit on the edge of your bed and just get your thoughts and feelings in order, and then the day will work itself, to fit you. I mean, I have nothing against that. If you're able to put yourself in a positive frame of mind, I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem accepting the idea that putting yourself in a positive frame of mind will then help you to respond more positively to the stimulus you get in life, and then you make better choices, and yeah, and you end up having a better day. I don't have a problem with that. But what happens if you've got all this gunk in your unconscious as a result of being hypnotized, being deceived your whole life since you were an infant, and all that stuff is building up, and all this negative shame keeps coming up? Your feelings aren't good enough. You're not good enough. You're not good looking enough. You'll never make it. You should never. Don't even bother trying doing that. And all that stuff is coming up all the time. And you're struggling, sitting on the edge of your bed. I'm happy, I'm going to be rich, I'm happy, and you're trying really hard to stuff all those feelings down with all those positive affirmations that you've been told if you just give yourself positive affirmations, you can program yourself to be happy. That would be great if you didn't have an unconscious mind. But you have an unconscious mind that's full of all kinds of negative garbage that you picked up from your reptilian parents. And it's constantly spewing things into your conscious mind and out into your universe. So you don't have the power to change those. And just go ahead and accept that. Here's the good news. Your thoughts and your feelings have about 2% effect on your reality. The other 98% is the actions that you take. And the good news is that you can take actions regardless of how you feel. You can feel like you want to jump off a cliff and blow your brains out. You can have that feeling as strong as anything you could possibly imagine. But if you take actions that are contrary to that, if you take the actions of somebody, when you ask yourself, what would somebody do if they had self-confidence and they loved themselves and they trusted the universe? What would that person do? Go do those things, you'll get what those people get. And eventually, you'll get the positive feelings too. The positive feelings will come to you. Those positive feelings you're working so hard to try and screw up and bring out of nowhere, those positive feelings will come as the result of the actions that you take. I'm here to tell you that the universe responds to your actions far more potently than your thoughts and your feelings. The universe is a matrix of conscious life force energy that surrounds you. And it acts like, a Star Trek holodeck. When you take action towards whatever it is that you want in your life, the universe, the matrix, takes that action as a command and responds to it. It's not trying to respond to your thoughts and your feelings. This is narcissism. Narcissism is being wrapped up in yourself. So narcissism is all about your thoughts and your feelings. And narcissists can't tolerate doing things that they're not feeling at the moment. They have to constantly be only responding and acting in accordance to whatever feeling pops up inside of them. That's why they're so difficult to be with. That's why they have no awareness of you or no awareness of your thoughts or your feelings. They're only feeling themselves, and they project onto you whatever's going on in them. The universe doesn't respond to that. The universe sits there when you're wrapped up in your own narcissism, and you're going to try and screw up good feelings and in order to get good things. The universe is like, what is that person doing? What is it that they want? But when you take action towards what you want, the universe goes, oh, that's what that person wants. Let's go give him that thing. So the law of attraction promotes narcissism. And nobody likes being around a narcissist. All right, so those are some of my thoughts about that. I'm happy to take questions. This is a question and answer. I'm going to refresh the page here, see how many people are actually watching, if any. 26 people, wow. And again, so the way this works is you ask a question and I will answer your question to the best of my ability. Renee Battle, Woman of the Woods, says, question, the matrix analogy of humans being big Duracell batteries for the reptilian computer agents is true? Now that you asked that question, I just got through talking about narcissism. Yeah, so first off, that was a movie, as you know. I know Renee is one of my one of my apprentices. As you know, The Matrix was a movie. Um, and so the reason why the movie is so popular, and a lot of movies, but the reason why is because it does reveal our unconscious narcissism. You know, one of the things that I find interesting about people who believe that they are possessed is that most of the time these people are people who really don't have a heck of a lot going on in their life. They don't have, you know, really successful careers. They don't have successful love lives. They've got usually all kinds of pretty serious issues going on. And so from an objective perspective, they're really not all that relevant to the workings of society. They're not big, important people. And what I find interesting is that these people who have very little influence on society at large or anything else, all of a sudden, the devil, the most powerful negative entities in the universe, have focused on them and are going to deceive them and attack them because, you know. And my question always is, why? What's the payoff? Why wouldn't the devil be focusing on the president or, you know, the prime minister of whatever, some big country? Why are they focusing on you? Wouldn't you think the devil would just simply not really care? Well, it's because that's their narcissism. They're totally wrapped up in themselves, the need to feel important. So this idea of the analogy of, we need to be fed off of, like batteries to, to fuel the machines. I can't remember where I saw it, but you've seen it before. Somebody talks about how ridiculous that is. You only create, X amount of power. There's a heck of a lot more power all over the place. If they really wanted just electricity, human beings are like one of the worst. The amount of energy that it would take to keep the human alive is more energy than the human would release. So what that represents and why it's so popular is because it appeals to people's narcissism. And narcissism is not just I'm great. Narcissism is actually emptiness. Narcissists have no sense of self. They think they are nothing. The way they overcompensate with that is to say they are the best, and that's why you can't say anything negative to them, because it's so debilitating to hear anything negative. So they constantly have to be told that they're the best at everything, and they never do anything wrong. It's narcissism. Short and sweet. Renee Battlewoman of the Woods question: how do we unravel this reptile program once we recognize it? You come on to the thunderwizard.com YouTube channel, and you watch the videos. You go and you subscribe at the thunderwizard.com website, and you take my course. You binge watch my videos. You get the lockdown package. I mean, that's what this channel is about. I create this channel to give people an opportunity to have everything that they want. I happen to come at it from a spiritual perspective, so that's where I come from. So to answer your question, everything I teach on this channel is designed to help that. Hey, Sue's Keen question: what's the surf like compared to Southern California? I don't know why you're asking that question. It feels like you're trying to divert me. The surf is very comparable. My experience of Southern California, most Southern California beaches, definitely not all of them, because there are different beaches. Most of them, the waves break very close to shore, and so you have to be out at the right tide. If the tide isn't right, the waves are all going to be closed out. If the swell, like in where I was in South Bay, just south of Los Angeles, if the waves weren't coming from the north or the northeast, then they would be just walled up. If there was a south swell, it would just completely wall up and dump. So it was really inconsistent. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people here in various places all up and down here. Australia is huge, but where I'm at, the waves are really great. And they're very predictable. You know, you can find places at high tide and low tide, and the waves are big or the waves are small. There's always good waves to be found, and it's empty, and the vibe is really cool. So, what does that have to do with what we're talking about? Nothing, except for the fact that I was able to manifest my perfect all-around scenario, which is where I'm living at right now. Saeed, question. Just to be sure, the universe does not answer to your unconscious mind. I didn't say that. I said it answers very small to your unconscious mind. What ends up happening is that if you're operating, so there are three minds, in case you didn't know. There's your conscious mind, which is the part of you that's listening to me now, the part that you're aware of. There's the subconscious, which is in between the conscious and the unconscious, which holds all the things like your security, your social security card, your driver's license, your phone number, your mom's birthday, things you're not thinking about, but if you need to, you can pull them up out of your, the files of your unconscious. And then there's the unconscious, which you are not aware of. That's where the 98% of your mind is. It's your unconscious. Your unconscious does create your reality. So that's why it is important to become conscious. One of the fastest ways to become conscious of all the negative garbage in your unconscious mind is to take action on things that you want. That's why it doesn't serve you to sit on the edge of your bed and hope that it comes to you. I'm going to think good thoughts and it'll come to me. That doesn't do anything to change your unconscious mind. It does nothing to make you aware of your unconscious. It's sort of like masturbation. It really doesn't, it might feel good for a second, but it doesn't really accomplish a whole hell of a lot. So when you take action towards not only what you want, but what is impossible for you, the first thing that will happen is all of the negative self-talk that's in your unconscious will jump to the surface. And you will become aware of all of your fears and all of your negative programming. Now, it's not going to say to you, here's your negative programming. It's all going to make sense. So what ends up happening, and I experience this all the time as a teacher, is that when I am able to help people get to what I call their soul desire, which is the thing that when they think about, they fantasize about, makes them really, really happy. When I can get them to think about that, and they get, excited and they're filled with inspiration to go create their new life, and we map it out, and then I say, okay, so now you have to do this, actions based on what they told me they want to do. They say, yeah, I can't wait. Click. And then the next day, yeah, I didn't get around doing it because I thought about it, and I just don't have the money right now, and my husband this, and my wife that, and I just don't, and I don't think That's how you know. So it doesn't come to you and say, here's all the stuff that's been, all the negative thoughts. It comes up as, this is reality. Okay, now it's time to wake up to reality, and it makes perfect sense. So the unconscious mind, one of the fastest ways to become aware of what's going on is to take action on what you want, because then all of your fears come up. Again, law of attraction doesn't teach you this. It teaches you that, if you think positive, happy thoughts, everything will come to you. Your dream man will come knocking on your front door. Listen, I don't have a problem if it does. If it does, I'm happy for you. It didn't for me. And people I talked to, it didn't work for them. What ends up happening is that you end up feeling shameful. The shame ends up getting worse. Because you go to Zohar the Magnificent's cruise, and she channels the beings of Zeta Reticuli and tells you sort of nebulous advice that you would get from your next door neighbor if you would just let him give you common sense advice. And then tells you about how you need to feel positive all the time and blah, blah, blah. And so you start to try and do that. You're able to do that when there's a bunch of people around hyping you up, and you're all doing breath exercises, and there's the lighting there and the new age music and the big giant crystal, and somebody got up there and doing their, I did law of attraction and I became a billionaire overnight. And you're like, wow, I want what that guy has. And Then you go home and you're positive for a day, and then all of your unconscious garbage comes to the surface again, and you're not happy anymore. And then you start to feel shameful for all of your negative feelings. So what do? You go back to Zohar's cruise and you pay another $5,000 for a cruise or whatever it is, or get another set of books or tapes. And you're going to let them talk you into how wonderful the world is. And you can't bring up the positive feelings like you could. It's getting harder and harder. And you start to feel shameful. And people come up and say, "How are you doing today, starseed brother?" And you say, "I'm good. Isn't life wonderful?" And then you're lying to them. And then you start feeling guilty for lying to people. But you can't tell anybody that you have these doubts and you don't trust the universe. And it just creates this cycle of shame and guilt. It's really destructive. And it's just another version of that destructive parent that says, "You're going to cry? I'll give you something to cry about. You better be happy. You're going to eat it and you're going to like it." So that's my thoughts. I don't know if I answered your question or not. Saeed, only by actions? Actions are the only things that you have any control over. You don't have any control over your thoughts or your feelings. I mean, you have very little control. There are some times, when I find myself going down a rabbit hole, of negative thoughts, that I stop myself and I say, what, I'm just not going to indulge in that anymore. So it's not that that isn't real. It's just that it doesn't mean anything without corresponding actions. You want to become Mr. Universe? Sitting outside Gold's Gym is not going to give you big muscles and ripped abs. Going in the gym and lifting weights and doing sit-ups and getting on the treadmill, that's going to give you bigger muscles and ripped abs. It's the actions that you take. You don't have to feel like working out that day. You can feel like sitting at home and eating Cheetos and watching Netflix. But if you get up off your ass regardless of how you feel, guess what's going to happen? Your body's going to change. The universe isn't any different. We live in a physical universe. We live in a universe that responds to the physical actions. Our ancestors understood this. We don't, because we live here. We live in a matrix. So, the kids these days are right when they say that we live in a matrix. They do. They've never lived without it. From the moment that they're popped out of the womb, in order to get that kid to shut up, we stick a device in their face. So that's why, there's no reality. That's why there are literally people in the world who, when given the option when somebody asks them, "Do you believe if the world is flat or round?" they say, "I don't know. There are too many variables." Because they can't trust any information. I can give them pictures. I can give them videos. I can give them testimonies. I can even have them talk to NASA scientists who will tell you, "Yes, I went up," and that won't be enough. Because they can't trust anything. Why? Because they live in this nebulous thing that there's no reality to it. This is why this is so popular, because people don't know how to get out of their narcissistic, intellectual experience. Yes, so actions are what you have control over. You have some control over the actions that you take. You have very little control over your perceptions. You have very little control over your thoughts and your feelings. You have control over the actions that you take. Mitch Rickard, is this a question? Are you talking to children? What are you asking me? Are you saying that you feel like I'm talking down to you? Do you feel like a little child? Are you asking me if people have their children watching YouTube? Why don't you say what it is you want to say instead of throwing out a passive-aggressive question? Frigga and Hella White. Question: how long would you suggest one should wait for a tooth abscess to be completely on the mend before returning to Qigong full force, or can I just proceed? Well, Frigga and Hella, I'm not a doctor. So I'm really not qualified to answer that question. I would say to be safe, why don't you just let yourself heal? Why don't we just be safe? Dean Evans, question. What does the serpent in the Garden of Eden represent? Does the serpent in the Garden of Eden represent free will? Are reptilians our secret liberators? Well, it kind of sounds like you've answered the question there. I would indulge that line of thought. I think that's a great way to look at it. Arzu Singh, that's not a question. It's not a question. So Arzu Singh, I'm really not interested in your opinion. This is a question and answer. If you have an opinion that you want to give to other people, feel free to put that on your channel or write it in your books. If you have a question for me, I'm happy to answer it. Una Veluspa, question. What if your suspected soul desire is something you have never done before? The thing I fantasize about I have zero experience in. Well, what if? Here's the deal. Your soul came here to experience something in this physical world. The way you know that is through a desire. The way you know it's your soul desire is when you fantasize about it. It gives you this bubbly, happy joy. Now, that is your compass. It doesn't matter if you've done it before or not. Why should that matter? Your soul wants to experience it. The fact that you haven't done it makes it even more exciting. Why should that matter? Just go do it. Go do whatever you have to do. I mean, I'm living here in Australia. People ask me what the surf is like. I chose this specific area because of exactly the conditions were exactly what I fantasized about. I can't think of any other place in the world where I could have all of the things that I have here, all said, the whole package. I can get some things in California, I can get some things in Hawaii, but I can't get all of them together in one place. Maybe the waves aren't as big here as they are in Hawaii, but there's a lot less people, right? This beats the crap out of Southern California. But that's because I wanted it. I'd never done it before, so I went and did it. So don't let that stop you. Just go do it. What have you got to lose? You won't be any worse off than you are now, right? What have you got to lose? Your soul is only going to live in this body once. You have a responsibility to your soul to give it what it wants. You must live for your soul, not for somebody else's. For yours. And that's, we come here for two reasons. First one is to follow what I call your soul desire, which is whatever it is that's going to give you bubbly happiness. So go and do that. And the second one is when you start taking action towards achieving that thing your soul has told you it wants to do, the next thing you're here to do is to deal with all of the unconscious and karmic resistance that pops up. That's the challenge. Your soul wants a video game. Video games are no fun if it's easy. Video games are fun if there's challenge. When you're trying to, whatever it is you're doing, Mario is trying to get the special little whatever, he's got to jump over this and fight this. And those are your karmic challenges that pop up. That's why video games are so popular, because they represent exactly what it's like for the soul. The soul lives in infinity, and it comes into this virtual reality avatar here. It's got this brain, which is a computer that interfaces with three-dimensional reality. And you've got emotions, which allow you to have an experience and give you the feeling of danger in reality, so that there's actual stakes and things mean something. And then you have all this karma that pops up that tries to stop you from, getting the magic bean or whatever the hell the video game's about. So just go do it. Mitch Rickgard, you can brainwash yourself. What the hell does that mean? Also, consciousness is real and the fundamental thing. I mean, you're just giving me, you're just giving us a generalized come on, man, you can think a little more deeply than that, right? Again, if you have a question, I'm happy to answer it. Dean Nevins' question. You recently talked about two kinds of magic, transforming magic out of nothing magic. How would you classify the runes? I haven't decided yet. I have not decided yet. Maybe both. But you know, Dean Nevins, you're doing some pretty good work in the area of runes. So I'd love to, you know, hear your take on that. I'm going to refresh the page, see if there's any more questions. Okay, I don't see any more questions here. So here's how this works. If you don't have a question, I got to sell you stuff and or entertain you. So the first thing I'm going to do, lockdown.thunderwizard.com. I'm giving away $3,214 worth of teaching of there's two certifications that each are worth $500 a piece. I'll certify you as an astrologer and as a rune reader, and I'll teach you how to do that. I'll also teach you how to become a life coach, where you can do what I do and take clients and teach them how to find their perfect career and how to make money. And let me just say, for those of you who are looking, you know, what is your perfect career? Here's your perfect career. Your perfect career that everybody has available to them is when the universe pays you money to be your authentic self. I don't care what it is. Whatever it is that you do that you would do anyway, there's money in it. Just got to figure out how to tweak it and turn it into money. That might be working for somebody else. It might be working for yourself. It might be teaching people how to sit on their ass and eat Cheetos and watch Netflix. I honestly don't know. But if it's something that's really important to you, that's fun, there's money in it. And so I teach you how to do that. So $3,214 worth of all of those, everything that I have control over, I'm giving away for free. The only thing you're paying for in the lockdown package is 5 services that I give to you, which have to be done through Skype. So since I'm taking my time to talk to you, you're paying for that, but you're not paying for the $3,214 worth of stuff that is all the stuff you'll see in courses.thunderwizard.com, except for books and subscriptions. Thunderwizard.com is the subscription site. Go there if you want to support the channel. $25 a month will give you access to hundreds of hours of video having to do with advanced shamanism, mastering shamanism, ritual, manifestation, all of that. There are higher levels. You can subscribe at whatever level you want, and there's all kinds of stuff, including working with me on a personal level and being an apprentice. Courses.thunderwizard.com has all my books and DVDs. Of course, subscribe and hit the bell button. All right, so now I've done a little bit of sales here, and now I've got to bring on a guest speaker for just a moment who's going to tell you how important it is for you to subscribe.
Hey there, this is Arnold. I have a very important announcement. I command you to listen to me. This is Arnold Swears He's Bigger, and I'm here to tell you something very important. You must go to thunderwizard.com YouTube channel, subscribe and hit the bell button. I command you to do this. It's the most important thing you're ever going to do in your life. If you don't listen to me now and hear me later and go and subscribe, I'm going to come to your house and I'm going to shame you in front of your whole family. I'm going to go to your school and I'm going to chastise you in front of your friends. I'm going to go to your church. I'm going to stand in front of the whole congregation, and I'm going to tell people how stupid you are for not going and subscribing to this channel. I tell you now, it's the most important thing you're ever going to do. You have to go and subscribe right now, otherwise my head is going to explode. Do it now, I command you.
All right, so let's see if there's any more questions here. I didn't mean what you thought it meant. Well, that's one of the risks that happens when you come on here. You're not the first person that I have misunderstood and reacted to out of my own ignorance, and you won't be the last. Mitch Rickard, money? Interesting. What does that mean? If you got a question, ask a question, man. This is a question and answer. Ask your fucking question. Neo Cobalt, if you have a question, write the word question, or otherwise I might miss it if there's a bunch of people. Is the Saturn and Pluto conjunction similar to Ragnarok energy? Well, first off, I'm not a Western astrologer. I'm a Vedic astrologer. So Vedic astrology doesn't always deal with the outer planets. So I can't answer what the Saturn-Pluto conjunction means because Pluto moves really slowly. That's why. Is it similar to Ragnarok energy? I don't think so, but I'm okay if it is. But anyway, I can't answer the question because I don't know anything about Pluto in terms of astrology. Dean Nevin's question: in any of your products, do you show any postures or qigong for each of the 5 elements? I do. I'm trying to remember where. I do in my book. I give you postures. There is postures for each of the 5 elements, and I know I teach them somewhere. I don't know if it's in the thunderwizard.com website or if it's just in the the book. I don't remember, but there's a posture for each one of the 5 elements. There's multiple things. There's postures, there's sounds, there's breaths, there's mudras. But to answer your question, I do. I just can't tell you right off the bat. I've got so much stuff out there. And to be honest, whenever I make something, I pretty much forget what I made it about. If I write a book or I make a DVD, I pretty much forget what it is after the fact. Yeah, so those are the questions. All right. I don't see any more questions here. All right, that's it for me today, guys. Yep. Yeah, I've already given you all the stuff you need to do in order to get what you need out of this. And if you have any questions, binge watch the videos on the channel. Learn how to search with. If you don't want to pay money, if it's bothering you that I'm selling some products, remember I've got 1,000 videos now on this channel, and I've got no shortage of free meditations, mantras, rituals, exercises. So if there's something that you want, go and learn it. And what I should tell you, I should say this every time, is if you're new to the channel, go search for the Hool breath. Go do that. If you wanna get some of the energy and the power of the Thunder Wizard path, go and enjoy that. And Gununga Greg has just come on. He says Thunder Wizard has a playlist called the 5 Elements on YouTube with postures. So there you go. Dean, go look for the 5 Elements on my playlist. Yeah, see, I'm sure you guys know my channel better than I do. Once I put stuff up, I forget about it. That's why it's up to you to go on the channel and watch the videos. It's really amazing when I say that. I mean, I'm running into people who get bent out of shape because when they ask a question, I say, go look it up on the channel. I mean, asking them to go spend a couple of minutes and searching, on my channel for something that I already have on there bothers them. And I'm somehow a pain in the ass because I'm telling you to take advantage of this enormous library of information. By the way, if you are overwhelmed by the amount of information, that's what the thunderwizard.com website is all about. So you go and you subscribe there, and you'll start from the beginning, and I start you from A to Z, and I just take you all the way through. So I don't do that because I like being, if I were to show up to my channel, I would like it because I would want to search it. I would learn how to search. If you don't know how to search, learn how to search terms within somebody's YouTube channel and find all the different stuff they have. I do it all the time. If I can do it, you can do it. All right, that's enough out of me. I'll see you guys later. And don't be like this poor little baby. Somebody needs to pick up the baby. Don't be like the poor little baby. The way you can is to do the work to connect yourself to the universe. It's okay to have this. I'm not saying don't have your feelings. You can have those feelings. I'll be okay if you have those feelings, and I'll do my best to take care of you. I won't shame you for those feelings. I'll shame you if you treat me crappy. Then, or if you are in denial and you treat yourself crappy, then I'm going to come down on you really hard. Other than that, I'll do my best to try and be a nice reptilian. I won't bite you or put my venom in you. unless you need it. All right, that's it for me. See you guys later.